We want to bring in Jason Schenker of Prestige Economics to give us a little bit more perspective on all of this. You know, Jason, we've heard a lot of these officials coming out recently, Papademos, for example, earlier in the week saying, well, you know, we need to prepare, and Greece could leave the Eurozone. Now we're hearing the Italian Prime Minister saying Greece is likely to keep the euro. What's your take on what exactly is going to happen come June 17th when these elections take place?
Well, you know, Trish, I think that it almost doesn't matter what the elections yield, because at the end of the day, although the road forward for Greece is hard, there is no road back. If they try to leave the Eurozone, their economy will be absolutely decimated, and they end up like Romania tomorrow, but with Argentina's credit rating and ability to borrow debt circa late 90s. You're talking an absolute economic disaster from where they are right now, and they will just be pushed back decades economically.
So you would argue that it's 100% in Greece's interest to try and work something out, because if they do not, it's utter chaos. They could be looking at an economy where people just won't take drachmas, for example, and you're looking at a black market situation where you've got to scrounge around for dollars or for euros because that's all that'll work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've long said that the euro really is for the Eurozone. It's its ugly baby. But the thing with an ugly baby is you have to love it, because you can't bring it back. And Greece really needs to learn to love this euro. And whatever politicians get elected on the 17th of June, they will love that euro. No matter what they say to get elected, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, politicians don't want to mess up their country any more than it's already messed up.
And yet,
no
Jason,
matter who they elect, if they pull out, it gets bad.
And yet, Jason, might Germany, might the rest of the EU be willing to back off on some of these austerity requirements, because they too need to learn to love Greece as much as Greece needs to love the euro?
You know, in a certain way, I have often said that Greece isn't the tail that wags the dog. It's not big enough, but it is the tail with fleas that makes the rest of the Eurozone scratch like crazy. And, you know, that's really what's going on. That's really what's going on. You're right. Germany and these other countries, they have their own issues in this relationship. But, you know, at the end of the day, Greece has to spend a little bit less, tax a little bit more, and increase the sovereignty of debt service in its budgets.
Are we looking at a market?
No matter who they elect, they're going to have to do it.
Jason, are we looking at a market here in the U.S. that is basically being held hostage, though, to this news? I mean, we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P reverse as some of these headlines crossed, with Monti saying that Greece would not be leaving the Eurozone. You know, it seems like there's a push-pull dynamic at play, and we move drastically based on whatever news we hear coming out of Europe. How do you play that?
Well, you know, you could be long vol, because, you know, by the end of the year, one way or another, we're going to know how this whole thing shakes out. But it could be a really, really big toss and turn until things are settled, because at the end of the day, if Greece tries to pull out, the interest rates for the reservice of the debt for the other peripheral countries, the credit default swaps for the other peripheral countries will go through the roof. The markets will absolutely tank. And instead of having what the IMF expects will be a mild recession this year in the Eurozone and positive growth next year, you'll end up for the Eurozone with negative growth that's significant, perhaps for multiple years. So the impact of this is not insignificant. I mean, they need to hold on to Greece, and Greece needs to hold on to the Eurozone. And I think at the end of the day, the Eurobonds is probably the answer, that they've got to move forward. It's forcing the group into national fiscal sovereignty. They have to move in that direction. They have to issue Eurobonds. Well, they can't let Greece go.
You know, the one good thing about politicians is they're a little like journalists. They work well under deadlines. So maybe this deadline, as it looms, will cause them to get their act together. Jason Schenker, President of Prestige Economics.